Ontario. So that's okay. I didn't like Oakville there when I said that. Oakville is not quite as we felt a little bit like we were in the woods coming here today, but it is suburban, so it's more of a suburb in Oakville, Ontario, and that's where all of our arts programs. So Sheridan is the largest art school in Canada, so we have a huge array of programs. Everything from 1-year programs that are certificates, things like an art fundamentals where you get to explore, to 2-year diplomas in things like visual and creative arts, visual merchandising, and many other diploma and advanced diplomas. So those are 2- and 3-year options. And then at Sheridan, we have a large number of bachelor's degrees in the arts. So what would be different about taking a bachelor's degree, say at Sheridan, and a bachelor's degree at maybe one of the other universities? Ours are very specific. So there is no Bachelor of Fine Arts. It's going to be Bachelor of Animation, a Bachelor of Illustration, a Bachelor of Interaction Design or Experiential Design. Whatever the program is that you're pursuing, the bachelor's area is in that. So it's a real deep dive into that particular area. All of our programs have co-ops, so they all have an internship and a co-op between year 3 and 4 as a feature of our program. And we have a large array. Again, it's very important to do your research when you're looking at our programs, because you're not going to be able to, like I said, with other schools, pick a major and a minor, for example. You're going to be very laser focused on that particular area of study. I know we were talking about looking at programs that have great career outcomes, and some of our programs are really interesting hybrids between business and art, technology and art. For example, have you ever heard of interaction design? So that is an emerging area. I know you're learning graphic design, but have you heard of interaction design? And that's how we interact with technology. And that is a emerging area where there's far more projected jobs, interaction design, than say graphic design. So it's being future forward and leaning into what is of interest to you, and also where we see career trends. If you are here in person and interested in seeing Sheridan, we have an open house coming up in March that I can tell you about. If you're online, you can talk to me virtually, or I can help you navigate our website to get more resources. So thank you so much for your time and attention.
Hopefully I'm positioned correctly. Okay. Hi, everyone. It's nice to meet you all. And thank you all for being here tonight. To introduce myself, my name is Matusa, and I'm a student recruitment officer from York University. So York University is the 3rd largest university in Canada, and we are home to close to 55,000 students. So we are a pretty big university. I know a lot of students get intimidated by the big number, but keep in mind, there are lots of ways for students to be part of smaller communities. We are not just a one campus university. We do have 3 campuses. Our largest campus is where most of our arts programs are situated. So it is in the North York location. So it's kind of west of Toronto. So not exactly in the city of Toronto, but it is within Toronto. That is where most of our programs are situated. And then we also have 2 other campuses. We have a Markham campus, that's more so dedicated for students who are living on the east side of Ontario. And then we also have a Glendon campus that is closer to downtown Toronto. Our Keele campus, we are pretty accessible. We do have 2 subway stations. So if students want to go to downtown Toronto whenever they like, that would be great. But we do consider ourselves, we call ourselves a city within a city, because there are lots of spaces, amenities, a lot for students to explore. In terms of our art programs, so our Faculty of Arts is called School of the Arts, Media, Performance, and Design. We have over 30 programs that students can choose from. And within those 30 programs, we provide a lot of flexibility. So students really get the opportunity to customize their degree in their own way, whichever works for them. Our most popular programs include drama, dance, cinema and media studies, which is essentially film studies. And we also have screenwriting, production, we have design, we have integrative art. So we have a lot of programs that also are very collaborative, so focus multiple areas together. We also have certificate programs if students are interested in that. And keep in mind that, even if you're, studying fully in arts, you do get the opportunity to explore other areas based on the courses you're choosing. Regardless of whichever program you're in, you will have to take elective courses. I'm a recent graduate from York, so I did graduate in 2022 with my undergraduate studies in political science. So I was interested in law, but I was also interested in arts. I do have like a passion for graphic design, drawing. I took a journalism course. I took an art history course. And I really got to learn more about myself and explore, you know, what I really like and what I'm really interested in. So it's been a really fun experience for myself when I was a student. And in terms of getting into the arts program, keep in mind that there are a couple of components to keep in mind. So obviously we have the admission requirements. Minimum average to get into a program at York is 75%. We do have a couple of arts programs that start within that range. Most of our other arts programs are also going to be within the 80 to 85% average range. That's where we're going to be looking at your top 6 grade 12 courses, including English, of course, and then your other prerequisites that are required for certain programs. The arts programs also ask for supplementary applications. So what we mean by this is that it's a way for us to assess you outside of academics, especially when programs are very competitive and it's, you know, not fair when, you know, students feel like, you know, they can showcase more about themselves. So a lot of times we'll do interviews, we'll hold auditions, students will submit portfolios, for example, for visual arts, for graphic design, student will submit short films, and you have all the creativity to showcase whatever you want. This is your chance to really show us who you are as an individual and show us what you got. So it's a really cool experience and really take that advantage as well. Usually those supplementary applications, you know, you will, you know, start working towards that after you apply for a program at York. And those supplementary applications are usually due at the end of January and beginning of February every single year. So do keep that in mind. But otherwise, if you do have any other questions when it comes to arts or any other programs or anything, feel free to, you know, come to my booth at the table over there in the corner. I can definitely answer your questions. In terms of events that are coming up, we do have an open house coming up for students in March. So it's on March 23rd for the Kiel campus. So you can definitely come in person. You know, it's a way to get your like firsthand experience of what it's like being a student at York University. You get to speak to professors and faculty members, and you know, you can really see if York is the right fit for yourself. And I really do recommend that by going in person, going to all the open houses of any university, whichever interests you. We also have virtual events if you can't make it in person, of course. But otherwise, thank you all, and it's nice meeting you. And yeah, thank you. Take care.
Thank you to all our reps for coming on and giving us all this information. I just wanted to reiterate that anyone joining us on Zoom, there are breakout rooms that we have prepared on Zoom where you can ask questions online. So if you're not here to go to the tables, there will be an opportunity for you to ask some questions online as well. I think hearing the different universities talking about their programs, it just makes me believe that a strong foundation is what you need. So you can come here to Laureate and get that foundation, because it doesn't matter what art you take. If you take fashion design, furniture making, if you're into drama, you all start with the basic design principles. And that's what we teach here. Basic design principles, basic structures, color theory, and composition. And those foundations will allow you now to pick a university where you can specialize. And then once you specialize, they will help you to plan your career. So your career can be something like, let's say you want to do graphic design. I know some of the schools do internships in New York City, for instance, at ad agencies. There's co-op opportunities. There's all kinds of ways that you can get that experience. And then once you're at the university, you can also decide what you want to major and minor in. So that's what we're trying to mimic here at Laureate, to get you prepared for that position. So I think we'd like to have this time to just open it up to questions. So we have lots of time. If you have any questions for me or the panel, let me know. Anybody have questions about what the program might look like here? Incidentally, most of the schools who offer an arts-based program will also have an audition. And you can learn about those auditions and what it takes for that. But we're doing the same sort of thing. We're hosting audition, get you prepared for it, building a portfolio for you. So we're also one of the few high schools that develop a portfolio so that you have some kind of edge getting into that university where they're going to ask for those portfolios. All right. Questions from it? Yes.
All the arts program that you apply to their education, whether it's college or universities, do they all require a portfolio for the application process? Or are there some that's different and don't require audition or portfolio?
In case you haven't heard it online, the question was, do all courses at university or college require portfolio to get into the arts? And I think the answer is most do. If you're going to do a minor or interest subject, then I don't think you need it. But I'll let them answer that.
So we do require a portfolio for every course, almost every course. So the only program where we don't require a portfolio would be visual and critical studies, which is our closest to a traditional art history program. In lieu of a portfolio, they do require you to submit a writing assignment, and that would be based on the slot that they give you beforehand. But for all of our other 16 studio-based programs, we do require a portfolio that typically is submitted online. And what we're looking for are 8 to 10 pieces of original work. We do require process work or sketchbook, as well as a statement of intent, like an artist.
So that was OCAD, and we listened to the speaker talk about most programs will require some sort of portfolio and perhaps even a written assignment. Do you think you could come here so they can hear you online? Sorry. Would you like a microphone? I don't think you need one. For this close, we might be all right.
That's pretty loud. Yeah. Yes, so it very much depends on the program. We have an art fundamentals program. I'm from Sheridan, sorry. We do have an art fundamentals program where you work on building your portfolio for a year, but it sounds like students here are getting that experience while you're here, which is wonderful. It depends on the program. So for anything like animation or illustration, those are all portfolio required. For the interaction design or experiential design, they are not. So it's important that you do your research and look for each program to see is a portfolio required? And then often you can research that portfolio before you apply. So you can start to prepare yourself before the year of your application to see what's involved in that portfolio as well. Thank you.
Do you have years of your work, or is it just in the last year?
It doesn't matter. And it's often several different areas, and there's usually quite a bit of freedom in some of it. So it'll be, say, 10 pieces of 10 personal example pieces. And then for our illustration program, there's a drawing test. So there's a specific test. For our animation program, it's very specific to portfolio. So it asks you to draw a particular character from certain angles, to do some storyboarding. There's a big range. Some things are very, very specific, and that there's other parts that are quite open. That's a great question. So you usually apply for college and university in January or by February 1st. The university deadline is January 15th. So January 15th or February 1st. And then for us at Sheridan, the portfolios are due at the end of February. So I think it depends. Is everyone's different? They're all different. Yeah.
So what's required for the when we look at the program, say,
Yes. So at Sheridan, anyway, you first have to meet the academic requirement. So first admissions will look for the academic requirement. If you've met that academic requirement, you'll be invited to submit your portfolio. No, is that the same? Is that the same with you? Yes. Okay. Sorry. I don't know. I don't get to meet with my university colleagues very often, so I don't know the answers. I don't want to assume. It's usually part of that process. Yeah. So first academics, and then so you need to also look, is there visual arts credit? Is it just English? Is there other high school requirements in addition to those portfolio or writing samples or others, what we call supplementary admission? Does that make sense? Yes, it does. Okay. Yes.
One is satisfied with the portfolio assessment offer beside the share thoughts there and opportunity for.
There is. Yes, there is. I'm only smiling because I think that's starting soon. So I know that our admissions advisors spend quite a bit of time in portfolio first for the submissions, and then you can appeal. They're called appeals. So you can appeal your portfolio score. Can you appeal your portfolio scores? No. Oh, at OCAD, that's it. There's no, that's you get. I don't know. TMU, can you appeal? Oh, there's no other appeals. That's good for me to know. I didn't know. I will not tell my admissions advisors because I think they spend a lot of time in the appeal process. But yes, at Sheridan, that's good to know. At Sheridan, we do. At the other universities that are represented here, there is no appeal process. So yes, it's very important. I just say one thing, to follow the instructions. So we hear that very talented students may not receive the opportunity that they should because they have not followed the instructions on the portfolio. So yeah, if you want to come up. Like all those things, right? Yeah, because we're trying to see, can you follow instructions as well? So the format, doing it on time, following the deadline, all those things are important, very important. And they're not daunting tasks. I mean, it's just, it's most of those things. I don't think any of us are asking you to submit it in a challenging way. It just needs to be done in a consistent format. Does that make sense? I've been at Sheridan a very long time. So I've been at Sheridan for 18 years. So I know a lot about that area, but and I've seen a lot of portfolios, talk to or work very closely with admission staff. And we very much look forward to seeing the expressions of students' work. And we know that sometimes it's stressful, or you might have some anxiety about submitting your portfolio. So the more research you do beforehand, coming to open house, talking to faculty, speaking to admissions, talking to students in the program, that will probably ease some of that anxiety and help you in the process. So we understand why it might you might feel a bit nervous, but there's a lot of support for you throughout the whole process. So hopefully you won't need to appeal it. Does that answer your question? You have another question? Okay.
As part of the application process, other than the portfolio, does any of you have to introduce something about something?
Yeah.
Can you explain what that interview looks like? How does it look? There's reference letters and also so it's depends on the program. It's not really what those requirements are to make sure that you're prepared and have enough time to make sure that your application and your portfolio and whatever else you prepare for are going forward with this application or the portfolio or addition that you can help us understand fit to the program, your goals. Nothing tricky, nothing like outside, like nothing you can academically do out there. It's just understanding who you are. So that's kind of how it is. And how long have you been to do? So again, in October, with information to complete this application with set up the instructions, and then you will receive a login info to put it on portal to complete the application.
So we don't require anything. All the set of materials that we submitted online. But we get stuff is the statement of plans, so that's where you would be talking about public fires, maybe what kind of goals you have for your sister, maybe why you're interested in a program that you're interested in, and that's where you have to put up.
Sheridan, that's on.
Again,
If any of you who are joining us via Zoom would like to ask a question, you can always type your question in, and Zoe will ask it, and we can answer it here live as well. Going back to some of these portfolio requirements, what we have introduced here at Laureate is a portfolio program for high school students, which most high school students don't really have. Some students may have their own individual, but we have like a portfolio part of the course, and oftentimes that's part of our summative. So we will develop a portfolio that's also something like a book with your drawings, but also virtual, and a website that they can post their stuff to. So that's another advantage of having a school that can prepare you for that. The other thing was we have some students who, in the past, I've had students who didn't make it to that school. It doesn't mean your art dream or your journey's over. You can try again the next year. You can try at a different place, because sometimes you just need that extra, you go to the review and you might need that extra course, or they might tell you what's missing. So some students will join as more mature students, and there's a bigger chance to get in. The other thing was I had a student who wanted to be an animator and wanted to go to Sheridan, but unfortunately their drawing skills weren't quite there yet, but they were impressed with the student. So what they did was offer the student some fundamental art courses to tune that up, and then they could apply again the next year. So they were accepted into the school, and they were allowed to do it that way. So there's ways that we can improve that, and there's ways here at the school we can help prepare you for that. And I really think that this school is unique in that way, that we have portfolios and that we have one-on-one consultation. We have low teacher to student ratios as well. Was there any questions from online? Do we have a summer school? We have a summer camp, but do we have summer school? Yes, we do have summer credit courses, and we can offer them to students who might want to improve their scores or were unfortunate not to get the credit.
In person and online.
In person and online, so that's good to know. Some would like to improve their scores often, or some would, just need a new course. Sometimes some students will take courses in the summer just to get ahead. Yes, what we're trying to do for senior students is offer a community co-op. So we're making some progress in joining the community and helping this become an arts hub. So we have some connections with the art gallery that's in Burlington, and a museum in Burlington, and there are some other art schools there as well. But we would like to get the students a co-op, which is a business type course, where they can go out, get a credit for this, and actually work or assist in arts-based business in the community. And that gives them a little edge too. They get to see what's going on. Some of them end up getting summer jobs even. I think co-ops we offer in what, grade 11 and 12? 11 and 12. The senior years are where they concentrate a little bit more. Grade 9 and 10 are overall. And then, we push that portfolio and get them some wider experiences and tell them about the universities. And the universities have all their information online. Sometimes they just don't know where to look, and we can help them find it.
I have another question.
Okay,
Given that we have the representatives from all the post-secondary institutions that are really from arts pathway, I'd like to ask each one of you if you had one recommendation to make to give to our students from a high school, what would that be if they're hoping to get to a specialized arts program at post-secondary school? What would be your one recommendation?
My one recommendation would be think about how you learn, what type of experience you want to have outside of that. You know, that house, like kind of left. But what that's important for is that when you also develop, this is really, really important. And for myself, I knew that I wanted to be surrounded by diverse people, diverse perspective. I wanted to be right in the mix with all of the industries. And so that was sort of how I made my decision. Also visiting the school and just getting to facilities and imagine yourself there and see if you feel that you belong. So a little bit unconventional advice that I would give, but I think that's something that a lot of it's something to focus solely on the learning aspect. It is important, but also think about the experience.
so that was from Toronto Metropolitan University, where the rep has suggested that along with concentrating on your major and all your academics and your art, also get involved in the community, get involved with the environment at the school. And it's an environment of international multicultural students.
Also to add, really great advice, to let students know to kind of consider like what they enjoy doing, what works the best, what's the best way that they can study, maybe like what kind of work they really gravitate to, like whether it's building with their hands and prototyping or like working digitally, graphic design, like those types of things. And a really big part of like knowing yourself, I think, is doing the research. So that's kind of what I would really recommend students do. There are so many resources that are available to you at all universities. I'm sure, like at OCAD, we do virtual sessions. Like if you want to speak one-to-one with an admissions officer, if you have any very specific questions that you'd like to ask, you could always book one of those. We do portfolio reviews regularly. We do show up to all those portfolio review events that you think of. National Portfolio Day Toronto, National Portfolio Day Online. So you can get feedback on your work through any of those. And besides that, like just taking a look at the different programs that all of these universities do offer is a big thing. Yeah, so like if you do transition into post-secondary, you don't feel so lost. You kind of already have an idea or a vision of where you want to go and like the resources and things that you need to get there.
So I'm summarizing just for the people on who might not be able to hear you on Zoom. So you also say get involved with as much as you can, and especially things like hands-on, things that you wouldn't have an opportunity to do in school as well. And also OCAD offers, the suggestion is they offer portfolio reviews and suggestions every step of the way. So you might want to do a review of your portfolio. You might want to ask questions about how you can improve it for the job market.
And certainly do research.
Yes, doing the research and finding out what's involved there. Get involved with the school. Some people just end up going to school and that's all they do. But there's so much more after, extracurriculars and clubs and things like that.
Like I think also our like is like okay. I do want to mention that when it comes to the your choice of program, especially in the arts, I do have specific
We do have sections, portfolio reviews, like how, they're taking for themselves. We host events, webinars, interviews online, of how to use this application. We'll walk through the step-by-step process, so, that really helps us to do, so that's a really great help, so, connecting to the supplemental applications, because we do look at that very closely. So, what do we like supplementary? So, the auditions, the interview, the portfolios that are required, so you do required, so in addition to the average and the courses you're taking in high school, supplemental applications second required.
So York University is talking about supplementary applications and reviews, and they also offer portfolio reviews and advice on how to supplement your application and help you be successful.
Yeah, those are all very wise words and a lot of great advice. And then I can add, I just know that our admissions team say sometimes students forget the basics of just reading their email. That they do not read email, that we get hundreds of questions into our contact center where the answer was right in the email. And so it makes it very basic, and I think it's because it's so overwhelming how much we receive. Like our inboxes are a tidal wave, and if you have applied to multiple schools, you're likely to get it many emails from many. So I can understand why that's difficult. So just being organized. Make a little folder for each one of the schools you're applying to. Maybe put aside one day a week, but please read your email. It'll save you 90%, probably 99% of what you know. We know the whole kind of application life cycle of a student, so we tell you right before you need to do the next step what that step is. So just that's my advice to me. Please read your email. We're not going to DM you. We're not going to follow you, on TikTok. We're not going to, not on your Instagram. We are old school email and we want you to read it.
So the advice from Sheridan is stay organized. And when you start to apply and you apply to different universities, keep it organized. Make sure you have separate folders for all of this and make sure you read your emails. So keep your emails nice and organized, keep them in a folder because they can easily get away from you and you can't find them. You're scrolling and scrolling. And sometimes the answer is in the email or right on the website. So stay organized, keep everything together, and that would be great advice. Any more audience questions? No. Any more questions here? Oh, another one from our student. Let's make a noise. I didn't hear that. Did anybody else hear? Is it just my ears? Okay. Anybody want to tackle that question?
It's not just ends up actually working in this field, but in getting is learning skills that are stop. And so I think that anyone who's necessarily they're good at what you say. Well, don't quote me on that. But I can say that no matter what program you choose to go to and dedicate yourself to, you're going to learn skills that can be applied in many different fields. And so you can work too much. I know that our side is 90% for the 6 months. Obviously, I have to get the other things a little bit longer than that, but I didn't find this.
I think if you're concerned about having work experience and try to pick a program that has a co-op or field placement or has that aspect to it, because it's gonna increase your chances of immediate employability, because you've already experienced a bit of development. But that's your number one goal is employability, and I really recommend the program. And there's no such thing as failure. We just say it's just lessons, right? It's just something you learn to forward into the next phase.
Or it takes longer to keep support improving.
Yeah.
I mean, time frame for which support goes in, and if you can meet the criteria that's.
It's got a while, and there's a lot of support. So again, for support, I think everyone that has gone to any kind of education in their lifetime failed something, failed the test, failed the class, failed something. That's not unusual, but the amount of support that is in place for students right now is pretty remarkable. There's I don't know for everyone else, but there's free tutoring, there's libraries, there's peer tutors, there's professors have incredible both online, in person, extra time. There's accommodations for any students who require what students are required in order to be successful. So it's just again being aware of what you need to make so that we can reach out. Sometimes one thing students don't understand is in high school, perhaps your guidance counselor, your teacher will come to you if you're not doing well and then be able to assist you. Whereas once you become an adult, it's your responsibility to seek that support. So the safety net is all around you, but you do need to advocate a little bit more for yourself as you become a post-secondary. That's something that's a little bit.
I think that's good advice. As you move on to post-secondary, you're not being handheld as much. You're adults, but there's so much support out there for you, and you can look for it and ask for it. If there's anybody online who has a question specific to the universities, feel free to type them in, and we can answer that as well. If anyone wants to get a hold of me later, I have my business cards on the table over here. So if you need to get a hold of me and you need to ask some questions, you can also find us at www.laureatecollege.ca. And what we have there is events and other things that are happening. So you might want to take a look, because we are in the process of promoting an April arts showcase, where we'll showcase the student art, and we'll also have members of the community come in. We'll have guest artists come in, and we're looking to plan arts and crafts showcase during those 2 days of the weekend that we're having it. So always keep your eyes on that ever-changing website. All right. If that's everything, I guess we'll leave it at that. And you can ask me questions. You can ask our administrators questions. You can phone back later. You can now go to the different schools if you want to ask different questions. And we'll wrap it up. All right. Thank you very much for coming. I'm going to exit stage.